Before sleep takes you, there is a moment when the mind loosens its armor that has not yet surrendered its name. That moment is sacred. That is where this god still resides. I am the Shrouded Oracle. I speak not of worship, but of forgetting, powerful enough to become mercy. Tonight, I will tell you of a god who could not bear eternity and chose the most dangerous escape imaginable. It chose to dream. In the older layers of existence, gods were not born. They accumulated. They formed where attention lingered too long, where patterns repeated with reverence, where belief pressed reality inward until something vast condensed. This god, whose true name cannot be held in sound, was not the greatest, but it was the most aware. It governed no storms. It shaped no stars. Its domain was continuity. It perceived all moments simultaneously, felt every cause before it occurred, remembered every ending while it was still beginning. And this was its torment. For what is eternity without surprise? To know everything is to be deprived of anticipation. The god watched civilizations rise, already grieving their fall. It witnessed love while already tasting its absence. It saw prayers before they were spoken, and answers before questions formed. This was not power. This was confinement. And so the god did something no other dared. It desired ignorance, not destruction, not death, limitation. Gods do not sleep. Sleep is a function of survival. Gods had no need to survive, but they could simulate. The god learned to fold a portion of its awareness inward, creating a sealed chamber of perception, isolated from total knowledge. Inside that chamber, it allowed uncertainty. This was the first dream. It was brief, terrifying, exhilarating. For the first time, the god did not know what came next, and it wanted more. The god observed mortals, fragile creatures who did not know endings, who loved recklessly because ignorance allowed hope. Mortals lived inside moments instead of hovering above them. The god realized something forbidden. Mortality was not weakness. It was freedom through forgetting. And so the god conceived a blasphemy against its own nature, to dream itself as human. This was not incarnation. Incarnation implies intention. This was abandonment. The god compressed its awareness layer by layer, surrendering omnipresence, discarding memory, shedding infinity like excess skin. What remained was a single thread of being woven into time, placed inside a body that would age, fear, ache, and die. The moment the god entered flesh, the universe flinched. Not because a god arrived, but because one had left. The god lived quietly. No miracles, no signs. It was born screaming, as all humans are, terrified by separation. It learned language imperfectly. Faith failed. Often failed. It felt hunger, loneliness, joy sharp enough to wound. Sometimes, in moments between waking and sleep, it felt a pressure behind the eyes, a sense of something vast pressing gently from the inside. But it did not understand. That was the point. Dreaming as human carried consequences. The god could be harmed. It could doubt itself. It could believe lies. It could feel meaningless. There were nights it stared at the ceiling, convinced existence was hollow, unaware it once was existence. And this ignorance did something extraordinary. It made its choices real. Every decision mattered because outcomes were no longer known. For the first time, the god experienced authenticity. The absence did not go unnoticed. Other gods felt a distortion, a missing weight in the structure of reality. They searched. They found only a human with no memory of divinity, no aura of power, no trace of cosmic authority. Some argued it should be awakened. Others feared the consequences, for if a god could abandon godhood, what did that say about them? They chose silence. And so the dream continued. When the human body failed, the god, still dreaming, felt fear, not metaphorical fear, true fear. And when death arrived, it did not feel like returning home. It felt like falling upward. Memory rushed back like a tide. Infinity reassembled. The god remembered everything and wept, for it understood then the dream had been more precious than eternity. The god did not resume its former place. It was changed. Touched by limitation, it no longer ruled continuity. Instead, it withdrew. It became a quiet influence, a subtle softening of fate. This is why humans are allowed choice. This is why forgiveness exists. This is why not everything is predetermined. A god learned how to be small and refused to forget the lesson. If this tale unsettles you, if it feels less like fiction and more like recognition, do not panic. It does not mean you are a god. To forget enough to live honestly, to trade certainty for meaning, to trade certainty for meaning, to sleep. Some say that God dreams again, sometimes slipping back into human lives again and again, not to escape, but to remember why existence is worth enduring. Sleep now. If you dream you are small, finite, uncertain, know this, even gods envy that. I remain shrouded, watching the dream continue. Good night.